Okay, this is question 28 for the practice final. For this one, we have 4 different situations, and we're trying to figure out which of these is a function. Now, if we look at the first one, which is A, I don't like how A is written in the original. Notice how it's horizontal. So I write it vertically because it's a little easier to read them without so many commas. There's a lot of commas when you write it horizontally. I'm going to grab a highlighter, and we're going to highlight each number that is our x, because x is the thing that can't repeat. Remember, think of x as time. Okay? So if x is time, and we highlight, this 2 is like 2 o'clock. The 0 would be like noon. But then we have another 2. Well, we can't have a second 2 o'clock in the same day. It's either 2 o'clock or it's not. Mind you, we're talking military time at this point. But the main thing is the fact that the time stays consistent and moves forward. This would say that at 2 o'clock, then 12 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock again, something was different. Thinking about like a room, if at 2 o'clock the room was 4 degrees, to be ridiculously cold, at noon it was 0 degrees, and then at 2 o'clock again at the same time it's -4, that doesn't make sense. The room can't be both -4 and 4 at the exact same time. So this is why this is not a function. So not function. For B, think of this one as age. Now, even though our Y is repeated, Bob, Steve, Betsy, and Patsy aren't. You can't have 2 Bob, like Bob. You could have 2 people named Bob, but the person who is Bob, there's not 2 copies of him. Even with twins, you have 2 separate people. So, Bob is 32 years old, right? Cool. Steve is 33, Betsy is 32, and Patsy is 25. Each person has 1 age. So this is a 1-to-1 relationship, so we're pretty good here. This is a function. If we look at C, we can do what's known as the vertical line test to see how often something happens. So for a vertical line test, I'm going to draw a line, a dotted line. How many times does our line hit X? Well, it hits a value here, Y, and it also hits a value here. Because it hits a second time on the X line, or X has 2 different results. In this case, as time moves forward, if we think of the line as the temperature in the room, the temperature can't be above and below, 0 at the same time. So this is, again, not a function. The last one, this one's pretty easy because it just has to do with squares. X can be squared because this makes a parabola, which will infinitely go in this direction. Notice that from left to right, nothing's actually getting repeated. If you do the line test, it only hits once each time. Boom, boom, boom. However, y squared would create this shape. And if we do our vertical line test here, these 2 on the top are cool, but these ones on the bottom repeat. Not cool. So essentially, if you have a y squared, not cool. You put something in for x and you get 2 different results for y. Think about it like if you have a machine and you put something into a material into a machine, and you normally get 1 product or a widget. According to this question, I put in 1 product, I square it, and then I end up by the end of it getting 2 different widgets out of it. Well, the machine only supposed to have 1 widget. So that's why this is not a function. A function is basically however many materials you put into something, 1 widget. So this is not a function because if I put metal into a die maker, I get 1 die. I don't get 2 die because that's not how this particular machine works. Okay, that's not what a function is. So there we go. Our answer is going to be B because each person has 1 age.